So those of you in the back there, make sure that you have a comfortable cushion, because today we will study the Vajra posture of the mind, the Vajra posture of the body, the Vajra posture of the Bindu. And for that reason, make sure that you're able to sit comfortably. And once you've made sure you can sit comfortably, we will begin our first recitation of the homage to Buddha Shakyamuni. There are cushions in the corner. Page 2. Okay, we'll get started. Chodo jazo je Chomden de deje shabara chomba yanda sobe sange ripa shazo demba deva sheba jiten kemba kiru du kalo yuru lana meba hada mena ye toba sange chomden yawa shaja tuba la jazo chodo jazo je Chomden de deje shabara chomba yanda sobe sange ripa dan shazo demba deva sheba jiten kemba kiru du Kalo yuba lana meba hada menam ye tomba sange chumdende Beje wa shagya tuba la jaze wo chodo jazo che Mante kanye tso kyodan che Sajin ela gomba dumborne Mani jiten dena choche zon Deze keba kyola jazo Nanda goma chodo zuzan wa Yeshe gyaso serge lumbora Shaba jiten suna hame wo Gombo juni gyola jazo Senjo tenpa jime dawe sha Sendo drawa gyola jazo Tibra jundra seba suna jine Nyame jinji gyola jazo Gombo tuje chedenpa Tamche kembe tomba Sona yunten gyatso je Dejin shela jaza Tabe deja jawar gyo Gyewe nyeso lebe Chidu dandan chungkyur pa Shigyur shela jaza Rone jowe lanyandan Rabban dala rabdune Shinge damba yunten Gyundun ayan jaza Deba chiyam mishaji Yewa hunsum sobar gyur Rangi sene yonsudu Dene sange tembayin Karma raje mamedan Gyuma seba chuburdan Milan lodan tendabo Duje chunan dedardan Sonandi tamje zibari Kopan topni genje ratude Gadan nadan chive lapchupe Tibe tole joan Page 3. To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, Lord of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent, destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When the supreme among humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides and said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise in, I prostrate. With your bodies formed supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme signs, face like the spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, 3 worlds are not. Incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you, the one gone to thusness, I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtue which frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, that dharma which pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a mirage, the flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the foe of false, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by waves of age, sickness, and death. Page 4, the Heart Sutra. Rekibo Kanala Sheragi Parade Jimba Sama Jeba Jeba Deba de Jidala Barja, de Gejeme Bada Janju Semba Semba Jimbo, Baba Jerezi, Wanju Zedan Demba Shari, Dade Bola, de Gejeme Sharibo, Rigibo, Rigibo, Kanala Sheragi Parade Jimba Sama Jeba Jeba Deba de Jidala Barja Barja de Bumbo Mapote Daya, Rangi Tomba Number Yanda Barjesu Tao. Sugomba Tomba ni Suzu Zule Tomba ni Shemayan Tomba ni Lekyang Sushemayan no de Shindu Tsora Don de Shidan de Shidan Nambar Sheba Nam Tomba O Sharibu de Dashodan de Tomba ni de Tsime Ma Jeba Ma Gaba Jima Meba Jima Dan Chewa Chewa Meba Kangwa Meba O Sharibu de Dawena Tomba ni La Sume Tsorwa me Tushe me Tushe me Nambar Sheba me Nime Nawa me Name Jimmy, Dumi, Yimi, Zoom, Dan, Jimmy, Rome, Rectum, Chome, Miji, Game, Bane, Yigi, Game, Yigi, number Shippy, Kangi, Batu, Young Meadow, Mariba, Mariba, Seba, Gashine, Gashi, Sebe, Batu, Young Meadow, Ishindu, Duma, Wana, Dunjum, Wana, Oba, Lame, Ishime, Toba, Matoba, Young Meadow, Data Wena, Janju, Sembanam, Toba, Maybe Chir, Chiraji, Baru, Jimba, Latin, Jimnit, Sima, Dipa, Missing, Tapa, Neto, Chinchilla, Shindu, Tene, Yang, Debe, Tara, Sindu, Duzundu, Nampa, Shupe, Sange, Tamte, Yang, Chiraji, Baru, Jimba, Latin, Lana, Meba, Yanda, Zobe, Shangu, Gomu, Zobar, Sang, Yeso, Data Wena, Chiraki, Baru, Jimba, Riba, Jimba, Lana, Meba, Minyamba, Nyamba, Dong Tamje, Rabdu, Shivar, Chebe, Mizun wana dembar sheba jade shiraji barudu jimbenga mebata yata gade gade paragate parasamgate buddhi swa Charibu janju zamba zamba jimbo dena jeremye barudu jimbo zamba lambar jao dene jomdende tingi zentele shinde janju zamba zamba jimbo baba sere se wanju lekso she jawa jimne lekso lekso riji bude shino dede shinde chidar gyugi demba jinju chiraji barudu jimbo zamba la jebar chate de jinjaba nagyo dede yeramo jomdende kide Sedan dembo jade dade bodan janju zamba zamba jimbo bamba jere ze wanju lada meda debe kora de dada lada mida ama ida tesa jebe jide yeramo jode deje sumba marite. Page 11. Thus I have heard, once the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajriha on Vulture's Peak, together with a great assembly of monks and bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was totally absorbed in the concentration that examines all phenomena, called profound illumination. And at the same time, the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, was engaged in the profound practice of the wisdom Gambhya, analyzing the five aggregates by nature. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra spoke to the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, how should those of good family learn who wish to follow the profound practice of the wisdom Gambhya? Thus he spoke, and the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, replied to the Venerable Shariputra, saying, O Shariputra, whatever son or daughter of good family wishes to follow the profound practice of the wisdom Gambhya should look at it like this, analyzing the five aggregates by nature empty. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is no other than form. Form is no other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, recognition, karmic formations, and consciousness are all empty. Therefore, Shariputra, all phenomena are empty without characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are neither impure nor free from impurity. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no recognition, no karmic formations, no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. There are no spheres of the eyes up to no spheres of the mind. There are none of these, all the way up to the sphere of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance, nor is there destruction of ignorance. There are none of these, all the way up to there is no old age and death, nor is there destruction of old age and death. Thus there is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cessation of suffering, and no path. There is no wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because there is no attainment, all bodhisattvas hold to the wisdom Gambhya, and because there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear. Passing utterly beyond falsity, they reach beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times by relying on the wisdom of Gambhya, fully and clearly awakened to unsurpassed, most perfect and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the wisdom Gambhya, the mantra of great insight, the unequaled and unsurpassed mantra, the mantra that calms all suffering should be known as the truth, for there is no deception. The mantra of the wisdom Gambhya is proclaimed, Tayata Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisattva. O Shariputra, this is how Bodhisattva Mahasattva should learn the profound wisdom of Gambhya. Then the Blessed One arose in that concentration and praised the Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, very good, very good, this is like a good family. It is exactly like that. The profound wisdom of Gambhya should be practiced exactly as you said, and then the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Shariputra, the noble Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering, and the world with its gods, men, anti-gods, and spirits, their hearts full of joy, praise the words of the Blessed One. So we enter into the discourse on the essence of the wisdom of Gambhya.
swaying market in the Chanju Lambun, Chanju Lambit was Jojadilla, Chanju Lambun Chimbo, the Jojadilla, and Chanju Lambit in Ba. Mananzo Sanjay Sala coverage of Chanju Lambit in Bas. Oh, the Tasha, Chini Chibi, and to do Chibarchi the rest.
Now is our Sunday class on the Great Treatise on the Stages of the Path to Enlightenment. The topic of the text, the Great Treatise on the Stages of the Path to Enlightenment, is enlightenment and the stages of training as one traverses the path to the ultimate accomplishment of the state of Buddhahood. And as we listen and as we instruct in the Dharma, the moment of instruction and listening to the Dharma is a particularly auspicious one.
Oh, that in the Hindu Chanju Lambit in the Tat, some Loba said it, and to some Gosumchi. Some around the Tring Don the Tat and the Chanju Lambit Ribala, and to some Gosum, Nangiora, Turbata. To some Gosum Chetan, that the Hindu around the Tring the Church, she said to Shirabi, gave us some book. And it's Chui and the Chanju Lambit Riba. And the New Chetan, the around the bed. Susu mix Susu Hansa Susu only in Bainaya, and a chain in Bay, 2 years Susula, Chura Namjing, share of the Demba, and any Susu Chikanda Chi Jova, Rangi Beta, Tanguayagi, 2 years Lujin, Chagan Tanwaje, and Chi 2 years Kuyu Chuzo data what did the Yovata, the Dotian, Bayana Kuyu somebody the Yovata, she died Java somebody else was.
As we train in the path to enlightenment, the training is comprised of listening to the Dharma, contemplating the Dharma, and meditating upon the Dharma. And we have gathered here now to engage in these stages in the training, these trainings that are listening and contemplation and meditation. So as we instruct in the Dharma and attend to the Dharma, listening, we must consider this a very fortunate moment. It is fortunate because as individuals, each one of us has the innate intelligence to comprehend the teachings. We have supportive external conditions, an environment that is supportive for Dharma study. So all of these together are supportive conditions, a body that supports study, an environment that is supportive. And for these reasons, we are very fortunate.
Oh, yeah, I'm not sure she is going to invite us to give us some Susu, but too big. Turbatan, Suzuki Turba ticket, Turba Shishi, Malam, Laba Shed together. And the dig on the Yoga there, or there, there was some rest in the 2 years.
Now, as we attend to the Dharma, listening and teaching, imagine yourself, recognize that the moment is fortunate and that you have great fortune to be able to listen to the Dharma now. And as we listen, employ mindfulness and vigilance as you attend to the Dharma. This is what I think, that this is an incredibly auspicious and positive moment.
Turbot Mazuna and Tig Jibus, Samjunga and Gomjung said, Gashira Cabo Yoris, Natambo, Turbek, Drumit, causing on the Shebanati Turbot Timu, Miss Drumi, Nanaji, Turboti, and another that Timu, Mubapa, say to it. Judo the Surasana, Tujung Shira de Yaku, Yova Yena, and Tigi Wangi, Samjung Shira, Ujung Shira, Drewinity, and Yong Yago Yoga, and was Hagen Resonos.
Now, most important of all, as we train in traversing the path to enlightenment, is first listening to the Dharma, which is followed by a contemplation of the Dharma and followed ultimately by meditation on the Dharma. Now, the cause for these latter two, the cause for a basis for contemplation and of meditation is first listening. Without listening to the Dharma, there's no cause for those later two steps of contemplating the Dharma and meditating upon the Dharma. It's impossible without this first cause, the cause of listening. And the cause of listening is likened to a lamp that dispels the darkness of of ignorance. We are mired in the darkness of ignorance, and that which dispels this ignorance is the lamp of listening to the Dharma. And with the lamp of listening to the Dharma, the latter two results of a basis for contemplation of the Dharma and meditation upon the Dharma emerge.
오야 다 안다라 토베 드메디 가주 세고 여바 있는 좀 버그 몸바 세야 드메디 가주 세고 여바나지 몸바 수침부 세기로 되나시 토베 수침부 여바나지 삼중부 시럽도 공중부 시럽도 수침부 계통을 해서 제가 토바 가주 상하 연나양 아니 삼중 시럽도 공중 시럽도 요로 세와시 어떻게 돼야 돼요 그래서
The brighter the lamp of listening, the more fully the darkness of ignorance is dispelled, the better the practice of listening, the better the results that are contemplation and meditation. So the more vivid, the brighter, the more luminous this practice of listening is for us, the more speedy the realization of meditation will be.
세우지 봐. 아니 바로 드메디 바 치기 롱다. 네 마요치도 삼중 시라도 야고지 템보 용면 된다나. 아니 제바다 시시 숨게 야고치. 아니 대체벌 때네 타마 아니 추는 내로 타상 무슨도 통하게. 아니 시라 기기를 고중 시라 기기를 아니 이게 바이나 아니 수수기다. 즉 자와 관리지 지고 위에가 있나야 강을 통과해가도 연구를 해서
Now, with the ignition of the lamp of listening, followed by contemplation that is mindful and vigilant, and followed ultimately by direct insight into the tathata reality as it is, with these in place, one will speedily develop realization.
됐다. 제가 되게 이유가 된다 보고 더선 고숨지 거는 단단히 자주 남이를 봐라. 냥도 남을 쳐봐라. 자주 남이를 봤으니까 다치 나네 직배 개체쇼지 차기가 이들 되게 냠내 뷰다 보지 영화 쳐봐라. 통말 꿀웅 상도 꿀웅 남을 다 가지고 그래. 꿀웅 남을 다 가지면은 아니 간다 최 제버대 최를 두고 말해. 대나는 대과 친구 쳐서 도와도 연구 말해 손으로.
These practices of listening, contemplation, and meditation as we train in traversing the path to enlightenment, in order for them to truly be conducive, must be preceded by adjusting one's motivation, one's intention, so that one's intention is pure. Without this pure intention, the sincere intention, one's listening practice and the rest will not actually conduce to authentic Dharma. So in order for this, the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, which is a Mahayana Dharma text, in order for it to be an authentic practice of listening and attending to this text, one must adjust one's intention.
아니 지금 수수기 계획이 상도 이직 선바다 제가 그는 상도 이직 선바 수수라니 대화 통계도 동네 생각 되게 울릉도 대화이나 아니 꿀릉 넘바 마타바 다 된대 매버지 아니 지금 다 치마 편지기 삼로 땅에 있나요 최소 총으로 최소 송아 있나요 대과친구 소송아 대과친구 최소 송아라 아니 꿀릉 넘바다바 신의 팬버 바시기 삼로 되지 자주 생고 심바도 오지 Now,
how do we measure the difference between a sincere and an insincere intention? How do we evaluate a difference between those two, and the way in which the intention influences the practice of listening, contemplation, and meditation? If one's intention is to benefit personally in this life and nothing more than that, then the intention is inadequate. If one's intention is to bring a benefit to and greater fortune in one's future lives, though this is a dharma intention, a dharmic intention, it is not a Mahayanist intention. For the Mahayanist intention, the Mahayanist commitment is to the well-being of all sentient beings, and this is the exclusive and entire commitment of the Mahayanist. And it is the mind of enlightenment, and it is the pure and sincere intention.
다 근데 장주 쌤이 지 심바 중앙이나 다 장주 쌤이 심시도 다 랑이 쌤바 꿀웅데 하는 게 내가 그나 단다 쳐 장주 라면이야 년고야 괜찮데 아니 지 배시나 팬배치도 시기 되게 많아도 지 심제 질 심제 탐제 양고도 네 많아도 고유 전부는 되게 내단도 야고 요야 배신 되어 요야 되게 상로고 돈 내가 그렇게가 있는 되게 아니 신지 팬백이 쓰이서 봐 장주스인데 쓰이서 봐 되게 지금 상로되게 돈은 내가 제가 있나 아니 내가 지져 간가 아니 산제지 고만 토백이 줄을 두고 여봐다 아니 배랑이 제바도 티바 친구 쳐서 두고 여봐 생각다 그런 넘버 다 봤으니까 되게 지금 쓰고 그래서
If one's intention is conjoined with bodhicitta, and one intends their practice of listening and contemplation and meditation to benefit all sentient beings, if this is the motivation and this is the purpose behind one's practice, then this is a Mahayanist inclination. This is a Mahayanist attitude. It is a commitment to bringing about constructive improvements for beings, sentient beings generally, to improve the environment in which they live. And so when this is one's intention, whatever work one undertakes, because it does have in mind the well-being of sentient beings, it is conjoined with the mind of enlightenment and a Mahayanist practice. And so insofar as it is a Mahayanist practice conjoined with the mind of enlightenment, it becomes cause for the achievement of Buddhahood.
도시 근데 체단당도 장주 남녀를 뭐 체배 값으로 장주 남녀를 받기 체단 직단 배자 고랑이 체단도 아니 라마 수주고 송유기 도단도 관리여서 장주 남녀를 뭐 체배 값으로 아니 조대 냠내게 rem바디 시험도 아니 간다다 동행지 담보직 동행이 남샤데 야고 워처보 라처보 체 동행 밖에 동행라 동행이 뭐야 저 라처보제 아니 동행이 무엇이 뭐 제디 아니 남리기 일단 담보 최 그게 시작 단계 내가 직대에 송구여래서
Now in the training in the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, there is variation between how particular instructors present the material. Various spiritual mentors present the material differently. But in the context of training, the very first step, the basis for one's training, is always first an introduction and a comprehension of suffering as suffering, a true, deep understanding of suffering as it is. This is crucial to one's understanding.
진짜 동행 약보지 못 맞추나 동행 못 쳐봐지 맞으나 아니 같이 그랬어 아니 동행 못신 말 동행 못 마신 바 있나 아니 동행 세야다 대화도에 생기 랑가디 녀요 말해서
And it's crucial for this reason, for without an understanding, without a comprehension of suffering as it is, without realizing suffering, there's no recognition of suffering as being characteristic. And without this recognition, there will be no inclination to dispel suffering and no inclination to alter circumstances such that they bring contentment instead.
이게 또 맞좀 되게 당고 불안상 개 당고 숨어야 돼. 아니 가르스나 당고도 동해송 대체서 동해디 강을 주게 군중디송 다 동해도 군중디 뭐저 살아서 동해 이 빵백이 빵바 디 아니 대화스 대화 고den생 대화 시네 대화도 딱 동해 세야다 대화 두개기 유가리어스나 남대디 요레스 대바식 남샤도 최고다 방법도 송어래요 송
So it was then that the Buddha Shakyamuni, upon his realization and achievement of enlightenment, when he first instructed in the Dharma, taught the noble truth of suffering, and taught then the cause of suffering, its origin. And following these two, the introduction to suffering, through suffering itself and its origins, the Buddha then taught Nirodha, the cessation, the abandonment of suffering. And then this was followed by the path.
도시 대산 근데 이들마다 맞도 전다도 최 냠내 제 고야 인생이 가와래서 가르치는 최 냠내 지고래서 저들에서는 최 냠내 제디 아니 말한도 동행생이 파세야 이마스 대화진 수부부 여바지 네기 인생의 때네 아니 다최 제세야 다최 지고야 된다디 간다 만족 되바다 미드바 동해 미드바 대화 되바 이제 타마 데레서
So in short, what is the purpose of the Dharma? Why do we need to practice the Dharma? The purpose of the Dharma, in its very essence, is to dispel suffering and discontent and achieve in its place satisfaction and contentment. This is the essential purpose of the Dharma. It is following the recognition that we all desire satisfaction and wish to avoid dissatisfaction, the means for achieving those.
today is the mata around church church chidan kanderesa da joni badli chidan kan chogoresa da church ri ani da around church never to tabshide tama ani dunge tamje pangba goden singidi topores ani to tobeag landen des labores da dig chidula ani mola da landen gyula kya chidula ani joa
To this end, following the purpose of the Dharma, how does one actually practice the Dharma? What is the actual practice? What does it entail? This question will arise naturally. The purpose of the Dharma is ultimately to achieve Nirodha, the abandonment of that which is to be abandoned. With this end in mind, one engages in the path to the achievement of Nirodha, the abandonment of all that is to be abandoned. In order for the path to arise in one's mind, one must engage in certain practices.
Joba Kandeji Gores, that Tiwatikan Lero, Tigan Tawa singing down on Chur Tamje, and it then Tejum with Tawa, the ten to go, turn to go, and they take two and Namshadi, and Tawa Tadu Namsha Chamores. That Chubeg Namshadi Kandisliam was not a man with bosom with Juba Namshadi, and Juba di Sawamebas. Sawamebas. Siena never the one, so never the not so Siena Pento, and Casey round Siena Pento Muduna and Manuel Chivores. What a Chevig Namsha do to the young distance or resonance.
To bundle up the Buddha Dharma into one essential point, if one is a practitioner of the Buddha Dharma, what view does this entail, and what conduct does this entail? The view it entails is the view of pratitya samutpada, dependent origination, that all phenomena are dependent and relatively established. This is the ultimate view. And the conduct is the conduct of body, speech, and mind that is non-violent. One must never harm others. One must strive to benefit others. If one is unable to benefit others, one mustn't harm them. And this is bundled into 2 points, the Buddha Dharma.
That and they done answer Gosum with that and that Yamne Chion, Susu Gosum Jobati, Louis Joba, Magi Joba, Yi Joba Sumir, Di Joba Sumuti, Rangla Dewa Chumyagi, Lega Chigituna, and then Le Gewas. That Rangi Gosum Jobati, Le Migio Chigituna, Dunga Yumagi Tab Chigituna, and then Le Migiwas. What a Dina Gosum Jobati Kada. Now
the conduct to body, speech, and mind, to the 3 doors of body, speech, and mind, when they bring satisfaction to each of us, those are practices that are virtuous. When they bring dissatisfaction and discontent, they are non-virtuous.
근데 이제마다 교장도 쉬시지만 어쩌다 되네 거기 톱제 장주 톱제기 아니 남탑시니 다들 로베 치들라 문도 장주기 셈니라 로투야가 치들라 아니 문도 조회 추축 땅도 나비시나데 연구를 해서
Now, during the teaching of the Buddha Dharma, the teaching intending to bring about the ultimate achievement of Buddhahood, enlightenment, that Buddhahood and enlightenment is brought to pass through training in wisdom and method. And as one trains, one engages first in preliminary practices. Preliminary practices are the topic of today's class.
도시 데데데도 다가도 조회 추주는 추도 시간에 저는 당고된 내가 저도 무슨 도시 된 정보 저번 유매지 거기 잡을 샴바스 이제 나한테 내가 단다 무엇이냐니 숨어 된 대화나 아니 들어와 된 대화나 눈나나게 최대 내를 거대 계속 잡아지면 경도 생계 차와스 어디 다디지 아니들 소신세 대바제 사장이 내되고 메데되고 메데 양라되고 저 표가제 아니 그거 소화 대바 명아 기다 좋아서 다디 먼저 좋아 죽도 되는 해서
Now, the six preparatory rites are: first, cleaning your room and arranging the symbols of enlightened body, speech, and mind. Second, obtaining offerings honestly and arranging them beautifully. Third, and here we have arrived, adopting the seven-featured sitting position of Vairocana on a comfortable seat, after which you take refuge, develop bodhicitta, and so on, while in an especially virtuous frame of mind. Fourth, petitioning the merit field. Fifth, offering the seven-limbed prayer and a world mandala, practices that contain all the key points of accumulating merit and self-purification. And sixth, further petitions, which follow the oral instructions made in order to be sure your mental stream has been sufficiently imbued by your meditations. These are the six preliminary rites.
아니 간다 치기네 장마 제발 때네 아니 직선함 사바다 밖에 라기 규팩이 왔대 되게 빨라 체네 아니 라기 셈 나기 치마도 마차네 아니 셈이 배 치매게 타와체 어디디 숨한테 또 지도를 체 굉장히 숨고요 손을
The main point of cleaning your room and arranging the symbols of enlightened body, speech, and mind, the purpose of attending to your external environment, to clean it, is to accumulate merit. It is to take as an example one's external environment and apply it as an example, cleanliness as an example to one's own internal mind, and endeavor to remove the obscurations and defilements to the mind as though one were cleaning one's external environment. This is the main point of the first preparatory rite.
아니 다진 아주 셰베 꿀ung 넘버 마타바기 규다 마체 꿀ung 넘버 답이 규다 체네 아니 군조 예버 체네 아니 가르치 그랬으나 랑기 규라 소남 제발 소남 톱네 아니 랑기 규라 자주심 제벌이 소고고요 어디치돌라 아니 다 저거 피다 아니 저거 피에 대 피다고 피고요 봐 어디 피나 랑 군조 예베 또기 랑 소남 자체 못 사기요 봐 어디 메이들 해서
The second preparatory rite, obtaining offerings honestly and arranging them beautifully, is for the purpose of delighting the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas through one's pure intention. It is one's intention, most of all, that satisfies and delights the sacred personages, and for the purpose of accumulating the exceptional merit required for the development of the extraordinary mind of enlightenment, one engages in practices of offering substances of high quality in order to delight the sacred.
아니 계승 참 수주 꿀ung이야 뭐 제바체네 아니 경도도 생기지 해야 돼. 어디 sabje sumbatire so.
And the third preparatory rite, adopting a seven-featured sitting position, etc. This is to situate oneself comfortably on their seat and to begin an actual practice. And for that practice to be the behavior and the very conduct that one aspires toward, and that is to develop refuge, to go for refuge, and to develop the mind of enlightenment.
오예, 다때 대화로 땅아도 단다 sabje tigan man 다 대시 슈구야. 근데 이들도 다 단다 때 대화로 코네서 때 대화세디 랑기 곰자사다 곰자단다 수수수 담는 방법을 가시 참 가시 신의 들어가요. 가시기다 단다 장주선 보면 제가 가르 공부 이유가 있는 수수수 곰색이 대사기 때문에 아니 수수로 이만직 되기는 다 두다직 되기는 로되기는 나와 되기는 간다 대사를 때문에 대우 보고 열어서 대우 용하게 탑이 송구여 해서.
Now to find a comfortable seat, to take one's seat comfortably and to begin the meditation informs practice, whether it's a practice in retreat, a practice of developing shamatha, a practice of developing the mind of enlightenment. In all of these meditations, one first situates themselves comfortably on their seat so that whether the practice is a day-long practice, a week-long practice, a month-long or a year-long practice, one is comfortably situated.
다단다 저치 조그다니 땐 대화 세디 땐 수수 대사 땐데 아니 가데도 수고였으나 아니 랑이 대사 땐 대고 토면에 그래 참아 수고이나 아니 대체쇼들 아니 지 땐디 디스 간다 기업들 때 토하지 튼디 마와져지 여바이나 아니 유를 못 튼디도 잡아 아니 수고를 많이 받아 대화 용에 개발지 어디지 숨고요 해서.
Now, as one situates himself, how ought one arrange the seat so that it is conducive to sitting for a long period? Now, the height makes a difference, and it is recommended to make the back of the cushion higher than the front, and this allows one to sit for a longer period without pain.
아니 다 땡기 와들 아니 두 땡이야 들어 다 윤룽 직특이래 윤룽 직특이래 수요래 지금 지구고요 다리는 짜 보셔시야들에 되네 짜 들어왔어 되네시 되순다 대용을 샤 아니 되게 째리 소랑 뒤는 텀바 되네시 송요래 송.
Now, underneath the cushion, one is advised to place a swastika and also a kusha grass stalk and a stalk of durva grass. When these are placed underneath the cushion, these are conducive to success in the practice.
윤루 샤고지 오늘지나 윤루데 도지 자랑 순대 도지 자랑데 하게 참아인단 내가 띵나 아니 데스 마요 프린전 디 차들을 윤루 티버레스다 도지 자랑 샤고지 미시바 베 네버 마요 순대를 전 샤버레스 어디서
Now, the idea behind placing a swastika underneath one's cushion is that the swastika represents the double cross vajra, which is, because it is an implement of the deities, would be improper to actually put one underneath one's cushion. So instead, one places a symbol of the double cross vajra, the swastika, underneath one's cushion, and the swastika and the double crossed vajra symbolize imperviousness or indestructibility.
다디네 자 두어 샤고든 자 두어들라 칙망 보체 베칙 맞콜 자도 투투투 참참 칙망 보여들 요에서 그야 체피와 제기 때문에 제는 자 두어들 샤고 요레스 아니 자 쿠셰 샤고들 가서 자 쿠셰디 코나로 점망 보 쉬우지요 자그 나로 강가 찍지라 맞대봐 상마 쉬우지냐 제 되는데요 제가 근데 인도 아니 그게 시내다 띵이 곰가리 자기는 디 마트 세우 상마 근데 요약이 천대는 지금 근데 띵을 해서
the kushi 그래서 짜디기 키추 가리래
자 두어기 세표하죠
라라원
자 제목이 띵이지 세워죠 맞고 세우이만
라라원 아니 딘딘에 짜데라 아니 키추 가리요레 띠띠 핀슨 그래서 this
在马这个先，马这个这忙不有了，你能经没有？在咱们这个马这个先，咱们对我了，我对这个准备有了是。
Now, the Durva grass stock has the effect of supporting longevity of life, while the Kusha grass, because of its shape and design, it's very very organized. It's dense, yet that density isn't a confused density. Each piece of the grass is separate and distinct, though it is very dense, and it is supposed to be establish a condition for one's meditations, whether they be shamatha or samadhi, for those meditations to be dense, clear, and successful. Now, the Kusha grass also, in its symbolic force, is meant to purify one's environment too. And there are stories of Indian adepts who would, in order to support longevity of life and physical wellness, use the Kusha grass. Now, with those items placed underneath the cushion, then one takes one's seat. And so how should one position the body? The proper position the body should take is a 7-point Vairochana position.
아니 단대기 루디 미상 마타베 미상 루디 루디 정말 주시체니 균이 쿠파 균이 아니 거할 교도스나 산제 남난 꿀 교도레스 티 줄기 와이자 되기 때문에 전에 아니 산제 남난 쇼단 엔 공제도 디 쇼단 무슨 말이에요.
Now there are 5 lords of the family, 5 particular Buddhas corresponding to the aggregates. But here, for the form aggregate, Vairochana is mentioned, and one takes a 7-point Vairochana posture. Now, the reason for this is the aggregate of form, the aggregate of the body, presently for us is impure and yet to be purified, unpurified at this moment. But as it is transformed into the body of the Buddha, the form aggregate itself is transformed into Vairochana. So to establish an auspicious connection with this transformation into the Buddha body, one adopts the 7-point Vairochana position.
number topic kule kurne sanje namnangi kule kuruwas adina sin soya kumbu yoro soya kumbu te kujune ane rinji june wa rinji june kule kuruwas sima mawa kude rinji june kule kuruwas adine dishiji kumbu te dishebe kumbu te mawa yune ane sanje obame wa obame mawa kuruwas adine dishebe kumbu te mawa yune sanje tuyuru 아니 또 뭐 그거스 다디네 넘버십에 공부지 뭐 유네 아니 미주 뭐 어디에 연체도 될 지시하고 되네 너도 따로 지고.
Now the 5 aggregates correspond with 5 particular lords of the family, particular Buddhas. And it may have happened that last week I made a mistake as I presented those to you. So take a look at your notes to make sure that they don't contain any mistakes here, and allow me to again go through those 5 aggregates corresponding with 5 particular lords of the family. So they are the form aggregate. When it is purified and becomes the Buddha body, is as the Buddha body Vairocana. The feeling aggregate, when it is transformed into the pure body of the Buddha, takes the lord of the family Ratnasambhava. So in the future, the feeling aggregate will become Ratnasambhava. The discrimination aggregate, when it is transformed into the pure Buddha body, becomes the lord of the family Amitabha. The aggregate of karmic formations, when it is transformed into pure Buddha body, becomes Amoga Siddhi. And the aggregate of consciousness, when it is transformed into the pure Buddha body, becomes the lord of the family Akshobhya. Now check your notes to make sure that there's no mistake there.
아니 따지나 최든데 게데스 니츠에 최든데 게데스 최게츠고야 가스나 최게츠도 잡아 가르치 그래서나 우중원이 쓰기로 우중원다 오바니 쓰기래서 디쓰기래서 아니 다 우중원다 오바디 아니 가르치는 쓰고래서나 가실 düğüce 가실 개고도 하잖아 개고야 돼 가르스나 다 개고 우중원 샤고야 돼 아니 디레다 가지고 공을 내려자고 꿀웅을 따지시고 와 꿀웅디 아니 이제 공부를 써고 미개와 모두 교도나 아니 꿀웅 미개와 다 시해야 된다라 아니 우중어디 인지미지 보고요 우중어디 맞아봐 있나 꿀웅디 미개와디 만 대요 있나 아니 공 겹투고 말해 공 용계 말이라 잡내 야고 용고 말이잖아 니네도 너무 그 꿀웅 미개와디 라야 된다라 아니 우중어디 지고요 제가 예 장기요 내송.
Now the Vairocana posture is sometimes described as 7-point, sometimes described as 8-point. Now there's a reason that some number 8 points to the Vairocana position, and that is because the 8th member is the cycle of respiration, is respiration itself. Now why is respiration included, making the 7-point Vairocana posture an 8-point Vairocana posture? It is because respiration is used as an object of meditation to address and correct one's intention. For if one, as they set out to meditate, is preoccupied with anger or something else, and one's mind tends towards non-virtuous inclinations, then in order to bring an abatement, an end to, a relaxation to that preoccupation with anger or other non-virtuous attitudes, one respires attentively, attentive to the cycle of breath. And this is in order to make sure that non-virtue isn't informing one's meditation.
진행 개선 셈세다고와 제단디디 꿀웅 당원의 셈디 로마땡가는 여가 있나 아니 꿀웅 우중원의 최고예요 말 우중원 최고예요 말 가도 룩셈 로마 셈보란 뭘 로마데레 아니 디가란 간다 개선 답수죠 여러분 다 디자 우중원의 거 말을 제단 디 장담도 마찬가지 되기도 왔어 다개 장고에디 꿀웅 미개월 모두 교대요나 그 미개월에 파세야지 근데 우 하나 파당 줄내 시작이 전에 아니 그 셈이 파이 아니 콘도 밖에 빼는 콘도 온도 줄대면 콘도도 파 쉬워지 아니 콘도 시작하는 셈 되고는 루마된 시작을 아니 디간 신경께서 어디를 지고 해서.
Now when one meditates, the mind at the beginning of the meditation should be in a neutral state. When it is in a neutral state, then a virtuous meditation may begin. It is ready and poised to begin as the mind is already neutral and prepared for a meditation. So when the mind is neutral to begin with, then there is no need to include this eighth point in the otherwise 7-point Vairocana posture. However, when the mind is preoccupied with anger and isn't ready to engage in a virtuous meditation, then the 8th point of the Vairocana position, respiration or breathing, is used in order to dispel the non-virtuous preoccupation, whatever it is, and make the mind poised and ready in a neutral state.
대단히 류디 자유 가르치 거라서나 상계 남남이 최대나 거라서 내가 가서나 최뒤여서 나디게 다는 가르스나 나디를 장가게 단 지난 빼지는 다음에 나디나 단당에 거야 빼지나는 겨와 엔서로 송화해서 도왔잖아 다 가리어서나 강발라와 개바 숨 강발라와 개바 숨 소주 제는 domba 시세 아니 고미 차벌 우단 시 넘버나지 최예이 소다 다도스 중에空的 돼요. 그래서
So that is the reason to include breath as the 8th point. Now, whether the Vairocana posture is 7-point or 8-point depends upon this. Now, the 7 points themselves, if we take the 7-point Vairocana position, the 7 points are, according to Insapa, in this present text, we refer to Insapa, and Insapa says, the legs, the hands, and the back make 3, brought to 4 by teeth, lips, and tongue. The head, eyes, shoulders, and breath are another 4. These are the 8 practices of Vairocana.
오, 도시 다디테서. 다디나네 당보디다 야만에 와네 지원다. 한국 강바도 지기동세들 다디네. 강바니부디 도지 기동지쇼래. 스타 도지 기동세들라. 다 도지 기동세들라 지당도 뒤유 공개도 대단하다. 아니야. 나 똑바니 조름 똑바니 왜 있나? 아니 도지 기름다 뭐네 대고요. 도지 기름 뭐네 대. 아니 다디네 그다디네 도지 기름들 다 밖에 세단도 다 숨이 sem바 도지 기름. 아니 류도지 기름. 아니 체 기름. 대단 도지 기름들 다 뭐 류 자시 대단들 숨이 그래서.
But first, the legs. The legs are to be in the Vajra position, the Vajra posture. The 2 legs, and this is the ordinary position for a meditation, the 2 legs are to be folded in the Vajra position. Now, this is absolutely critical for the development of realization in the secret mantrayana, but ordinarily too, this is the recommended posture for the legs in meditation. Now, Vajra position is of 3 sorts. It is the Vajra position of intention, or the Vajra position of mind, first, the Vajra position of body, second, and the Vajra position that is half position.
오, 사디나는 도지 기름. 도지 기름 원에 수단이 단다다 방아한테 또 좀 내대 수도한테 나시다. 이 강바 왜 도지 기름 강간 수단이 단는 것도 가만 셀로 되게 또 수단도 어디다 도지 기름 수단 원에 되래서.
Now, the Vajra position is really the position that the Buddha Shakyamuni himself sat in, and when he presented the Dharma, it was from this position. Now, the Vajra position is to have the right leg folded underneath and the left leg folded above. The Buddha is blocked right now, so you can't see directly. Now the right leg will be folded underneath, and then the left leg will come up onto the calf like this.
슈드는 아마 세계적인 슈드.
So maybe for a second, sit in that position.
양아지 현답. 어디 가면 이러시.
Oh yeah.
보면은 칼라가고 싶어요.
Now, if you're not accustomed to the position, it's very difficult.
어디 다들 도지 기름 쓰면은 도지 기름 쓰나 어디 있어.
So that's the real Vajra position.
당한테 다들 유명한 돌리지 강고 마야마자면서 도스마틱으로 되게 체 도지 기름 쓰.
Now, ordinarily, slightly more restful, more comfortable is to unlock that leg and to just have it resting underneath.
예. semba doji kiru si de ma ma da pa zo ya yumi yo pa zo do pa zo do se ya do yum chu de de ma ni shu dan de de do de la semba doji kiru.
Now the position of two deities in union is the Vajra position of the mind. Two Buddhas in union, two deities in union are in the Vajra position of mind. Now to see an example of the Vajra position of mind, look to the Guhya Samaja and Vajrasattva. These are in Vajradharatu. These, if you'd like to see an example, are in this position. So the external physical body takes the Vajra position. Why take the Vajra position? When the body is in the Vajra position, then the mind takes the Vajra position. When the mind has taken the Vajra position, the winds take the Vajra position, and in the winds, the traveling Bindu too take the Vajra position. And these four Vajra positions, when one is an adept, are very critical. When the body is well positioned in the Vajra position, and the mind has this support for its own Vajra position, and the nerves too, the nerves and the elements, the Hindu, all of these too are able to adopt a supportive position themselves, then all of these positions in place, conditions are suitable for achievement of shamatha and achievement of samadhi. And with the achievement of these, then one experiences both mental and physical pliability. And when the nervous system is supported by the proper position of the body, then the energy traveling through the nerves, the wind energy too, can move unobstructed. And when the wind energy, the nervous energy through the nervous system is able to move unobstructedly, then the body experiences less hardship and obstruction.
다 간다 간도에 냠내 지역에 내도 지도자마다 간다 센당 룽이우디 아니 맞아 장야 장식 조의 차대요. 일 장은 아니 맞아 지금 류기 저와 바다 류르베 강에 매요 나내 나서 가투야다 아니 류기 남게 장난도 저 베란도 중앙로 왕토베 저간가 아니 장야 센당 룽이의 장고요. 손으로
The main objective of practice is to train mind and wind energy. Mind and wind energy may be well trained when the body is well positioned. And with the body well positioned, then the body experiences less hardship, better health, and gains some control of the elements of its own constitution.
오야 하나도 수부고 나라 자기 내다는 나 조금 되면 나 냠내도 지고년라다 안에 직수수 쓰는 거 냠내도 지고년이나 먼저 고배는 지난 장 장가게도 자 동다 뒤주장이 어디데 열었다 이내다 수드나 아니 자 아마도 숨르다 자 지르마 아니 얘가 라마다 라마다 장마스 어떤 자들이 뒤는 숨 바탕에서 맞다 동라 뒤주장이 어딘데 장가게 열어서
Now, the nervous system is of crucial importance in secret Mantrayana practices, including the generation stage and completion stages. And the nervous system is described as having 74,000 nerve endings. And with these 74,000 nerves, they are concentrated for our purposes into three, the Lalana, Rasana, and the Advaduti, that is the left channel, right channel, and the central channel.
일단 때마다 냠내 최고를 최고를 자 공부를 세 나 도도디 가르스는데 자 오마생이죠. 자 오마생이 단단한 자 오마나라 룸도 되게 그거 야마 유튜브 자 투구요. 빠지마 자 신바가나 파 난게 룸도 수가네. 아니 자 오메나 맞다. 자 오메나라 야마 룸야마 유튜브 치료자마 아니 맞고요. 주 냠내 버게스 중앙의 룸도 되들 냠내 체계 체도 내 말에 다스데레스 뒤유나도 자도 가르쳐줬던 것은 자랑만 야마스다 이 유미 자도 배제당이 어려서.
Now later in practice, as one trains the wind energies, one trains especially concentrating upon the central channel. In the central channel, the winds and the bindu move up and down and should, through training, be able to move up and down without obstruction. Presently, there is blockage that prevents that from being an unobstructed movement of wind and bindu. Now, as one trains and exercises this central channel, the degree to which the elements and the wind move unobstructedly up and down this central channel is a measure of the degree of success in one's practice. Ordinarily, we are in our ordinary activities employing the left and the right channels rather than the central.
전발라 조조 얘기하다 샘나는 때 뭐고 남도 뭐 계약 아니 샘나는 샘 백현 수 다비자마도 파트 좀 가만히 나라 때 삼로 마고 제비자도 샘 수도 라메 제디 아니 자 우메나 룸 땅모도 어디 견도 소치요 자 우메나 랑 룸도 조야마 주시 제토이나 아니 스탕 템바 템바다 아니 그게 샘 마요다 아니 장기 따지 가도 곰쟁이 나 곰쟁이 뭐도 룰나 강에 영향도 다 탕제로 좀 매버 보라 어때 비도 뭐 자기를 해서 뭐
not training in the central channel, in the movement of the winds unobstructedly up and down the central channel, failing to ever train in this, we are ordinarily very forgetful, distracted, and have very little control over the mind. And for the most part, it is difficult for us to maintain a single-pointed mind for even 1 minute. And this is a result of not employing the central channel, not drawing the nervous wind energies into the central channel. But when one is able to draw the wind energies into the central channel, the nervous energies into the central channel, this will result in a better memory, less distraction, and also less fatigue in practice.
어디를 따대한 미리 가실래나 때때스 그 한달 수수그 싸게 차단 민자인데 요 용구요 차단보다 요 디레고 양지 대단한 직사이 요어도 때때야 미스 싸게 차단 차는 때때 민자 용구요 해서
Now, there are also some who the configuration of the nervous system or their physiology differs slightly, and so what is a suitable posture for them may differ.
그러나 또 두에게 능신하는 결혼 발란다스죠. 발란다스. 그런 간데 겨와기 내나한테 괜찮아. 엄마 발란도지 겨와기 온도 전에 그런 검제도 좀 봐. 이제 많이 얘기 하고 뭐. 맨 맞으면 또 그게 말이야. 그래서 당연히 저희나 따짜도 가도 돼. 근데 맞으면 곧 룸마주도 그 센터 마테마티카가 프라이엄 많이 바라나지 많이 검자고 많이는 양자도 주고요. 마주에서 걸 좀 되게 미세나 많이 검자 미세나게 어디를 주고요.
Now, for example, different physiology was found in Balangda. The bhikshu's name was Balangda, and the account of his unique physiology and his unique needs is given in the ethical narratives of the Vinaya. And there, his physiology was such that he wasn't able to develop any realization unless he was lying down. He couldn't have insight unless he was lying down. Whereas ordinarily, you and I benefit from an upright position, and the nervous energy is able to move smoothly when we are sitting upright. For Balangda, this wasn't conducive to his insight, and so the Buddha said that he must lie down in order to develop his insights.
거기 좋아하는 바라나시도 거기 세도 마베 마사지 그거는 미관하는 냐냐야 되는사 야마니도 사고 바람이 조상 들으시도 디지는 콜라요 온다 세사데 나기케고 온다 세 마사나 콜 간다 세 용타베 교지 디지냐 띵이게 네버치게 콜라 온다 세사죠 나 어디를 유여하시는지 그 심지 가시한 수수가 자다나 대대공이한 수수 대담이다 지고야 다야 대담이다 원게요 공자고 어디에 연구를 또 니수 가가 해서
Now, Balangda, who required reclining in order to develop insight, was also allowed to eat an evening meal. This allowance was made by the Buddha Shakyamuni. Ordinarily, bhikshus were prohibited from eating an evening meal, but in his case, in the case of Balangda, because his insights arose when he was reclining, and he required an evening meal. Otherwise, there would have been some difficulty for him to use the energy from digesting his food to develop samadhi and insight. So the Buddha made an allowance for Balangda. In this particular case, Balangda was allowed to eat the evening meal, though he was a bhikshu. This account of Balangda and the allowance made by the Buddha Shakyamuni is found in the Vinaya. and illustrates how some individuals, because of their unique constitution, have different requirements, different needs. But this doesn't apply to us now.
뭐야, 다 땡땡땡제 땡땡도 다 강반이 기름진데 다 디간다 라바니디 가서 냠샤 찾아줘. 냠샤 찾아서 라바니 들어와 예바 라바니 요르디나 냠샤데 예바디 땡나샤 예바디 와르샤 안디가 태문이 때자 태문이도 좀 안디 때와 가도 자고 해서
Now for the position again of the body, the two legs are in Vajra position, and the two hands, what follows is a description of the posture of the two hands, the position of the two hands. Of the two hands, the right hand takes the top position, and the left hand underneath, the right hand on top, and the thumbs touch, and then the hands should be placed at the navel. Bring the hands to the navel.
아니 이 라바니 두션 태모도 잘 보여야 되거든. 태모도 잘 되는 죄지. 근데 거기 때월 제도 가족이 마음이 내치도 두무고 죄지야게 내디 때월을 열어서 때월을 뒤 죄도 수 마음을 장 죄디 두무고 죄디야 버려야게. 아니 전쟁이 치더라. 안 좋지게 해서.
Now the purpose of having the thumbs meet and drawing the hands to the navel is to cause conditions for the ignition of heat of the Kundalini, which is seated at the navel. And in order to begin to bring conditions for the ignition of the Kundalini, the thumbs touch and the hands are drawn to the navel. And what benefit comes from this? More speedy achievement of samadhi.
동직 받다 태가를 왔어. 근데 동이 연락하잖아. 그 계직에 장부 거라서. 가도 신고 장부지 샤고 해서.
Now with the legs and the hand, next follows the back. The spine ought to be straight. The spine ought to be straight like a beam, an upright beam.
네, 수고대 제 장부지는 대고야 되거든. 장부 제반은 짜서 카도 되게 엔디나 짜 롱도 야마도 상고 강내면 아니 셈페 풍부 자야다 아니 뭔시 제마 뭐뭘 담아도 뭔시 두고와 뭔시 두야게 아니 저배 롱가도 야고 좀 주고나 뭔시 주게 요도 두고요 되게 제발 요래서.
So the spine is upright, and this allows the nervous energy to flow unimpeded. And this also acts as a supportive condition for future development, swift development of clairvoyance or supernatural intelligence.
아니고 대우요 말씀 추도다도 랑법샤고 그랬어. 수도 뒤균 간데 대화도면 내가 나신지 샤투고 그래서.
Next follows the teeth, lips, and tongue. The teeth, lips, and tongue should not be tensed or gritted. The teeth should not be tightly gritted, and the lips and the tongue tight, but rather the most restful position that they can take should be taken.
양 가시 청아만 당대로도 가시 좀더 이로 청아들 지죠 막고 다들 간데 당분에라 뭐 간데 되어 있는 데가 나나 샤유제 나한테 제대야 이제 미지 깨나도 잘고 제대로 만나서 뭐야 제대로 깨나 잘고 제대로 잘와이나 아니 튀규는 것들이 아니 곰 띵사부제도 잡아 아니 이제 가주다 나주도 마사고 까투야 또 아니 카 맞고 봐 어디들 개발 친구 여러 손이지
But the mouth shouldn't be hanging wide open either. It should be the natural position that the mouth takes with the lips that one takes. The mouth shouldn't be wide open, and the tongue shouldn't be stuck out. Instead, the tongue should be pressed to the roof of the mouth. And when the tongue is pressed to the roof of the mouth during long meditation practices, this will eliminate drooling and any excess of saliva escaping from the mouth.
간단한 냠샤 투 간도 냠샤 투고 되게 가둘라니 르 저던 다다도 마든 아니 가둘라도 마자데 그나도 니 미가지 니 투고 부두도 많이 가둘라도 보라 마자니 야텐 그 저거 지용도 강에 마고도 어디 좀 뭐요 제발 해서
Now, when one is in deep samapati or when one is in deep absorption, if the mouth is wide open, one may drool, just as when one is in a deep sleep, one begins to drool in their sleep. So to prevent this, these positions are taken for tongue and mouth and lips.
오예 따지네 야도는 제도 추다 이제 제레도 뒤서서 따지네 야 뭘 고건 뭐되니 베이토스 카도 베야 대와 많이 먹고 데스틱 고스 맞네 말도 고스도 거래스 배나도 생각이 된도 대부야 보이는 것만도 고래서 어디나 좀 맞대서 고스를 고 얘는 야가 열에서
So that describes the proper position of the tongue. Now for the head shouldn't be straight up, but rather tilted a bit forward, just as when a heavy grain on a ripe harvest is slightly bowed down. In the same way, the head may be slightly tilted down.
오예 따지네 믹데 dos 믹 좀 배좀지요 말았어 좀 봐이나 아니 지원래 아니 공자 너버 친구지로 양믹이 배파 당진 타른 것다 이요 말았어 타른 것다 와이나 아니 되게 게 고바 중심부지 고바지는 되게 샘플을 두개로 제단 믹이만 두스랑이 배쯤만 많이 봐 당와이 봐 대야 다른 거만 따마랑이 나고 쇼바니 통투서 나고 이제 막 통투 어디에서만 야 남았다 대와 많이 봐 야한테만 막 다른 거 따와 많이 봐 랑이 나 통도 대신 당제는 샤워를 해서
And now for the position of the eyes, they are particularly important. They oughtn't to be fully closed. If they are, then that will invite a torpor, which will hinder one's meditation. But they also oughtn't to be wide open and looking far into the distance, for that invites agitation in the meditation, which will disturb the meditation. So between these two, the eyes should be slightly downcast, slightly lidded, slightly downcast, so that the two nostrils are visible, not wide open and looking deep into the sky, inviting distraction, but slightly downcast and seeing the nostrils.
진짜 곰는 전주 샘플 전부 내버 쳐봐도 곰이 내버 쳐서 저기情况的 고반이로 일단 다른 거 쉬었다는 고바디게 샘플 털고 양 배마미 좀 샤바이는 아니情况 좀 내지는 배 니를 쉬어 몸벌 쉬어네 아니 곰줄 야마도 책으로 지난 군이 세야 된다는 미기 인지하면 때모지하고 샤투고 거래서
During meditation, in order to facilitate a stable meditation, a balance between inviting too much torpor, inviting too much agitation, a balance should be struck. Or if one closes one's eyes and slips into a deep sleep, that isn't supportive for meditation. And if one's eyes are open and one becomes very agitated, this too is not supportive.
호였다. 배는 양 배제 가시 나다 곰 삼대보다 곰자니 가시기야 배 숨는 곰자니 시에 시에 근데 요르스 배는 아주 직 엄마 별로이나 자나 하샹 다와도 저희는 춘미 동양으로 미국 숨는 곰자고 되는 시조요. 양 가시 미국 남는 딸 곰자 시바 어디데 시에야 근데 시에 다 아니 시에 자기들이 요르스 이나양데 대조 레 아니 미국을 방법수야 오지 샤투나 때문에 열해서는
Now, other texts and other traditions describe other positions for meditation. In fact, there are traditions in which one is recommended to close their eyes and meditate in a sleep state. Now, this was recommended, or was the view of the Chin Buddhists when they came to Tibet, advocating their particular view. And so there are traditions in which eyes may be closed, and there are other traditions in which one is invited to look into the sky, upwards into the sky. But for our purposes, it is particularly beneficial to just adopt a natural position with the eyes half lit. Now, with that, we've covered these 7 points of the 7 featured Vairocana posture. Now, each day, whether you meditate for a minute or two, or no matter how long it is you meditate, if you take this position, then the 7-point Vairocana position will enable some success in your practice. With that, we will conclude the class, leaving the final portion for question and answer, which I think is useful, especially for clearing up anything that is unclear and addressing any doubts you might have. So we'll begin that now. Excuse me for one moment.
No, David translate.
Questions?
I have a question about the winds moving up and down in the central channel. Do they move up and down at the same time? Do they move up and down as we're breathing? Do they move straight up and down, or do they move in circular directions up and down?
그래서 아니 자 우마다 아니 룽디 야르마르 아니 조당디 이걸 라인스 티브치요 아니 자 우마델라 아니 욱 텐드 아니 욱 파르당드 데 아니 룽덴서 야르마르 조그르베 아니 티브 칙디엔 아니 티브 아니 네바디엔 그래 아니 디 룽덴서 상마 야르 조체 Dene mar drogirbe yamene kashi yar drogen kashi mar drogen yargin margin drogen dene drogirbe kandes drotang kandire.
근데 단단한 우땅대 롱디 말했어. 그래서 롱라바 롱라바라서 저 오면 나 롱땅세데 롱모도 치가 롱라바데 파가 롱차가 아니 참모디 아니 마在西班牙弄起他干，在我们那蛮多的，是不是？就他们就是一个干啥？
이거 디 아니 라서 디 룽데로 아니 코르긴 drogirbe 양메나 아니 상마 아니 야르 아니 데네 mar
네, 스타간다 고 자데 라보드 가사로 다디 고 조렌 찍죠. 안데 자 완다게 나도고 르르라보다 룽라보도在我们那个土马的时候是吧？他等到弄的怕，然后就怕叉他们是他们的，在我们那个马，就他们的弄搞是搞就是应该搞的是，他的弄然后他们弄然后的马上弄他们的，我们去土马的时候是吧？我的明白的时候。
Respiration is gross level respiration. As we inhale and exhale, these inhalations and exhalations are gross breath or wind at the grossest level. So don't imagine these as you imagine the winds in the central channel. The nervous energy of the peripheral nervous system and the gross level respiration are stilled. When these are stilled, then the subtlest nervous energy is drawn into the central channel. And in the central channel, the subtlest nervous energy is also brought to a standstill at the heart. And this is the objective of exercise of the central channel.
아니 니나는 그도 셈도 뒤에 이실도 두고도 뒤 아니 남도 땅에는 대sem라도 되시고 저는 셈고라고 하자 참모자들이 나시 롱데 나시 야마 참모라고 땅으로 해서
Now, as one falls to sleep, the function of the sensory organs in their grossest function begin to withdraw into consciousness, withdraw away from gross external objects. And in the same way, the same process goes on as one withdraws one's attention and nervous energy into the central channel.
Two questions. One is, you talk about generating feedback from navel, and how does that enhance the concentration of samadhi? And then once the energy loses the shushuma, then why would it need to stop at the heart and not go further? And if it stops at the heart, what is the objective of it, and what one experience at that level?
Also the tu moyoro ani tewadele ani susu ani lapa jarne tewadele lapa jarne ani tumo pariela ani 아니 퉁긴 퉁기로와 그래서 디 아니 투마 파르네 아니 띵에zen 토비라 간제스 핑게레 직제 티오 당보디레 아니 티오 니바디 아니 디 롱데로 야 그래서 롱데로 야르마 로디오티 트라모디 롱 트라모디 아니 소소 그래서 아니 닝가 델라야 델라카 라 닝가 델라카 얘는 야르 존에 가르치네 아니 치츠라 까기요 말에 가르치네 아니 닝가라카 고그레스 지원이 도와
당고디 그 두무 저 가족이 자기네 수복 조단이 따디 모두 지단 나 지금 말해 주신 다 멤버들 시제기로 와 일단 수복이 가족이 대화제사기 내리 지우를 사서 저희제사기 내리 대화를 열었어 그래서 수복 조항 조단 거다디 제가 인도 가족이 대화를 저희들이야 바르니 아니 이 대화를 감도 마시오 스타디 지단 먼저 단다 지단 용라진 시에 개 말에 단다 나 야매치니 저놈이 야매치니 저 프랑스도 도단시래 간다 내기 단다 대시 가르치 그러나 대화디 지우로 열에 아니 막에 저희께서 대화를 이게 야매치는 저희들이야 바르니 대화 감슈니 아니 일단 완전히 가와시다 동바시 세저와 어디서 뜻이 대단한 저래서 다지난 류 내당 찬 시에버다 다단다 조이버디 인간을 가르치가 저 대화를 가르치가요 말해서는 인간이 아주 sem 타마 뒤세대 아사 sem 뒤세대 인간 자들로 콜로요 그 지우를 자 콜로요 인간을 자 콜로 자 인간은 타마지 자 인간 그 자는 거 저거사기 자리 거르는 인간이요 항상 자리 누가 가가요 누가 들어 각쇼비 인간자들 그래서 인간자들은 저도 아니 누가 버려 생각을 되게 와서 롱디 되고 롱디 되고 인자 롱디 냥또 셈디 되게 셈다 롱이부터 카트에 두고 말하고 먼저 뒤에 겨 치마를 더 겨가면 돼 용세에 롱디도 셈 때문에 누구 용돼 버렸어 제가 롱디 가와 되기에는 대사들은 셈디 되게랬어 제가 롱디 타마 이걸 되게요 제가 셈디 되게 그것도 말해서 하고 어떻게 지내서 근데 지난 냠내 세토 그게 저래요 미미 용라기를 그렇게 말해서
가와시당
동바시
어르
가시 동바 가시 저 가자고 와 어디 저래네 냠내 그게 싫어
Now, in the explanations of the secret Mantrayana, we speak of the wheel of great bliss at the crown, but there is a correspondence to a presentation of anatomy and physiology that you would find that you find in the sciences too. Now, but as we address ourselves to the explanations found in the secret Mantrayana, the wheel of great bliss is located at the crown, and there the white element is, and heat is generated at the navel. Now, through the generation of heat at the navel, the white element at the crown melts and begins to descend. Now, the melting and the descent of the white element is presented in the secret Mantrayana, and it is along this channel where the descent occurs that the winds and the bindus are in motion. So it is bliss that is located at the crown and heat at the navel. And we speak in the secret Mantrayana of 4 blisses and 4 emptinesses. And this is the language used to describe practices of the adept, not the descriptions of ordinary practice and experience. Now, ultimately, along the axis of the body, there are wheels called wheels, but they are where that nerves are bound up, as it were, in knots, and where knots bind the nerves, there the mind too is bound. Now, ultimately, the mind is connected with subtle nervous energy. And subtle nervous energy ultimately is knotted most tightly at the heart wheel, the knot at the heart. And so it is the release of the knot at the heart center that is a release of the subtle wind and subtle mind that, when unreleased, is obligated to continually re-embody in cyclic existence. Now, this is a presentation according to the adepts of the secret Mantrayana.
So just about the posture of the hands that was described, it seems that the hands, naturally just kind of fall to the lap. So I'm wondering about holding them at the navel. Well, that seems like you're doing it with your shoulders or something, so I'm just wondering about that.
Lapidus and Timojarne and Teolajar Gone and Dopatisa song. The Namgin, the Lapidin the Shane, the Lapidi Mar Pangla Marsa, Ransing Marsa Yongdwa. And then the Yarkia, the Chapati taste, Chapati and the Yarkia go grave, I mean, this Mideo than the Minduga.
대단 약쇼지나 뭐 대단 정보 당분이 무슨 뭐 여러 가지 약쇼지나 그때와 대한 잘 독생 고트게 당 내가지 여러 가지 뭐 내지 여러 네수 다지난데 수부야 정보지 대고 가지고 겁나게 그렇게 말했어 담아봄도 꼭 담보 용도 좀 하고 대단 마셔 봐요 우리 용 이내 뭐 답시 지기지는 공부도 겁나니까 내가 말 왔어 이내 당고 사도 잡아는 수를 사나야 지금 몇번 말아와 진짜네. 그 가지 조 몇번 때야 지더라. 아니 자기 지금 여러 와서 어디에 계절해서.
The position the body should be be in depends upon one's sort of level of practice. Ideally, the hands should be raised slightly and at the navel to develop heat and the rest. However, it's a matter of growing familiar and accustomed to adopting this position. And if at first the hands fall and it feels unnatural to hold the shoulders in a way that holds the hands up, just continue to readjust so that you gradually become comfortable taking this position. And if while doing that your hands do fall, make sure that as your hands fall, you don't lose your object of meditation. For the purpose of all of the points of the posture is to support stable attention to the object of meditation.
An online person wonders about the leg position. Does the left leg have to be on top of the floor?
자기가 아니면 지당에도 아니 도저히 좀 되죠. 아니 인지멘지디 지당 책이 간라 인지멘지 샤고 그러베 예면 아니 연바디 간라 샤고 그러베 예면 예바디 간라 샤
예바디 나오죠. 대샤 연바디 대간세 독샤.
지자니 연바디 간라
연바디 네가 다시 안 되기로.
내려 들베
예 나오죠.
지자듯이
예 나오죠. 어디 배가면서 그 라가면서
네
뭐 가면 가면서 내가 가면
네
어디 가면 대토나 뭐네 데려다 지금 뭐는 야고 대토나.
So really, if you're able to adopt the Vajra position, the left foot should be on it. The right foot should be the lower foot, and the left calf and the left foot should be in the front and on top of the right calf. And this is, if you can really adopt the proper position, this is the position. The right leg is inside and lower. The left leg is outside and on top, and the left foot is on top of the right calf.
야, 다 쓰셨다.
I want to know a little bit more about the hand posture. Is it the bottoms of is it the bottom of the left hand that is at the navel level? Or is it the thumbs that are at the navel level? And also, are the thumbs pointing upward? Or are they more diagonal, or are they flat? Where do the thumbs pointing straight up, or are they at a slight angle outwards? I've seen different pictures of different teachers with their hands in different, with the thumbs pointing in different directions. Is it the bottom of the hand at the navel, and how high up do the thumbs point?
Also the lapadi and the wala jarne the tomedi garina gares tome the ani lapegi o dela ani tewagi ani tomela ani shagrobe yamina tewongi
라바 타모듯이 라바 예버드 강샤. 예버드 강샤. 이용은 되어라샤.
아니
대원이 누구지? 무슨 춘중소도 동거 춘중. 이 대문이 되어 쟤도.
네 대봉 된소 때와
대문이 수제를 때를 조이지.
아니
조이다 버기 때에 조이니 되냐도 개요. 조이디 내가 바로 전대죠.
나나
조이치를 때를 전대.
So it is the thumbs where they meet that should be at the level of the navel, and the thumbs should be pressing against each other and in this position like this, and pressed together like this, making an open triangular space like that, and that form is symbolic of the ignition of the kundalini, the ignition of heat there. And so where the thumbs meet should be at the same level as the navel. So with no questions, you've likely become well accustomed to the position.
Thank you so much, Geshe-la, for the teaching. Due to, for myself, due to health challenge issue, I cannot sit in a Vajra position. My right leg has to be right in front of me, and I cannot bring it up, underneath of the left leg. So what is the impact? What is the challenge when I try to meditate?
맞아. 그래서 아니 예배 뿜어디 아니 나기도 trolla 줘서 제장 아니 더지킬 좀데 아니 특비면도 제장 아니 강바 예배디 드나시 아니 샤고도 아니 드나샤 샤네 소수기 공개했던라 아니 네바 간데스 테스 너그르베 아니 간데스 너그르
담보 드시게 되면 기름 숨이 와서 기름 숨이 와서 나타나 도지 기름원에 대해서 저는 뒤에서 겁나 나도 데스 하고요. 그래서 공부만 뭐 친사였나 도지 기름 약쇼디 도지 기름으로 와. 또 이내 다른 샘바 기름이 와. 샘바 기름에 기름 나 고쳐버렸어. 아니 체 기름에 기름 고쳐버렸어. 나가다 기름 대에서 또 가르치는 수북의 대단 또 점도도 아마 유튜브에 개발 뒤하고 그래서 말이야. 그래서 저는 유야고 이름도 간에 맨날 안에 더 발란다는 지냐 많이네. 네 발란다 쉐고에 가서 수북의 대단 전에 수수한 대단 지역가 어디 전대 시기 여러 와서.
Now, like I said in the beginning, there is the Vajra position, the mental position, and the open position. And so when one is cross-legged, one may take that open position or half Vajra position, the half lotus position. And you may sit that way. I presented the movement of the subtle nervous energy and wind energy so that you understood how the full Vajra position, which is ideal, how the full Vajra position supports meditation and exercise of the wind and bindus. But just as Balanga was encouraged to recline as he meditated, because he required that, you may adjust according to your needs.
다 머리 튀네. 이제 그 튀네.
Thank you so much. I have a question about, so I feel like a lot of like with positioning, there's like where it's like level of unobstruction is kind of like a measure of success in a position. I was wondering if there has been any kind of like measurement done or like objective measurement or study, whether individually or among a group of people, to kind of show that like certain positions are effective. If they have, like, I'm wondering what the results were, but I also understand it could be in the realm of, you know, non-objectivity, like individual experience. So I'm just wondering what if that relationship has been explored.
Oh yeah, the so and George Kiltung dene and Lungden's a yard mar and Joe Lavo and Joe Devo then Chagre and Joe Devo then the Chana the Suzuki Lugi Detangi Kingi and the Devo Chap and chopping neighbor than the any negro and they lots of day and Namshat Chiki Namshat Dirwa you know the Senrikpe and Drotan Shirshane and Gomgapkin and so and Shipjuk and the Chenyong Yorebe and the Dorje Kilchun Dene and the Susugi and the Lung the Yarmar and the Joella Pimpe Tse Jelia Dinde and the Yorebe and the Yamana the Se Jaya di Ra Se Jaya the Susugi Nyamyon La Pape and the Jaya Mato and the Chigi and the Senrepegi and the Tachi Chene and the Tse and the Jaya Dinde Ayume.
트리퍼기산의 샘을 남자던 좀 타모다 샘 참고 돌아 고속단다 제바 저 대박을 했어. 단다 고속으로 전 싸워 차대요 했어. 네, 나도 최고 차네 되게 세 열했어. 그래서 나도 미치게 공모도 더더 나가는 기름 조금 레벨와 고름바 열와. 제가 기름이면은 기름이 당고 수주 당보 가마 이제 취재 되는 또 장주 잡아 아니 다 맞아게 근데 니마 지가 취재 일섭시 이 두부 받고는 두부 찍 수수 배 롱도 주고 요아셈 마이와 롱도 마이와 셈 맞추고 내 투야 이거나 아니 그 기름 닦고 기름 새 롱샤스 어떻게 새 열었어 아니 조금 내서는 수고 중앙 왕도 가서 어제도 수고를 배 수고出줘야 당出줘야 당 수고 마대야 차야 당 수고는 갈래 가야 다 차야 다 지수가 롱도 주다 대단 마디고 중앙이 마디고 왕도 용부여 왔어 제가는 수수 중앙을 왕때 투나 아니 수수 왕토기로 왔어 제가 되게 차네 기름다 조금 좀 왕고 열어서 이 제리보다는 신경 좀 셈다 롱 창고도 셈 창고도다 단다 무슨 지시버리면 단다 무슨 마 단다 마 텔레비어 말씀드리는 단다 무슨 지시버려서
Now, mind and nervous energy and mind at the subtlest level of which we conceive of it in the presentation of subtle mind and subtle wind energy in the secret Mantrayana is only now a subject in just beginning to be investigated in labs and in settings for research. Whereas we have in the Secret Mantrayana well-established measures that each adept can employ for an understanding of the development of one's practice of subtle wind and subtle mind. And in the 24-hour day, divided into 4 6-hour sessions, or rather 6 4-hour sessions. And when a meditator is able to practice development stage uninterruptedly, with a mind unagitated and still, with no interruption to the sustained and extended meditation on its object for 4 hours uninterruptedly. And when through that there is a control gained by the mind over the elements that constitute it, such that fatigue and pain are no longer experienced, this is a measure of success in a measure of completion of generation stage. And so, whereas this is a presentation that has been standardized, a standard interpretation of subtlest mind and subtlest nervous energy, according to research in the laboratory, is just now something that's getting underway.
Yeah,
Thank you, Vijayla. So I have a two-part question. So firstly, Charla, you move fast when you list the points. So can you just go over the 7 points, the 7 Vajrayana points, and list them, and then the 5 aggregates and list them, and then I think it was the stages of Nirvana, Nirodha, and Samadhi, those ones. And then the second part of the question is the position of the legs and the hands. I was looking at the images over there, and then the right leg seems to be on the outside and the left leg is on the inside. And then I think in some images I've seen the hands like low, the hand is like lower, but the navel is covered, so I can't really see where the navel is.
담보디 아니 그래서 주든 그러 주든 된소 아니 갈래치니 장로치 직접 되네 아니 풍풍마이로 된소 갈래치니 장로치 되네 아니 마 된소 쿠당 된소 아니 제네 샵 도르지 kil중 아니 슈당데 데스멘다 라보 통에도와 아니 샵책 아니 드나 아니 샤도와 제잔 미툼바 된데 도와 어딘서 주든 네 가르치
해요 맞다니 내가 맞다 소리 대단다 된대로 다다 간다데 거기 단다 슈난 잠에서 수업하기 팀인데 저랑 대설 때도 되게 한다는데 되게 예식이래서 아니 도지기름 수수고 대대고 전에 슈난 근데 막고요 대도 기와요 말했어 제가 친구 말에 따이는 지난 슈단 가르쳐줘서나 다 예버디 나는 좀 치라가 예만이 근데 예 샤데 또 샤단데 아니 샤도지 기름스다 기름고 담쇼 기름 단다 담쇼저와 어디 되래서 담보디 샤도지 기름 예버디 아니 찬이 냠샤스 아니 이트로 샤도지 냠샤스 아니 수바디들어다 알았네 일단은 먼저 테마
빨리 깨봐 깨봐도요
아니 다시 안 되는데 샤도지 기둥제 아니 자니 때문에 남샤제라서 아니 디 류다다 당원세 단나지 당고제 대버지 않아서 류 다다 상대 공부니도 처음에 매워지 지고 그냥 보셔야 돼 다나 상고제 대버지 그 당시 담바체 농요가 제 아니 소주 담바스 카드 주는데 제인데 제래 담바도 지하고 아야 되네 아니 믹스나로 파스 믹도 맞은 거지 믹스나로 파 나제 빵을 때 아니 가서 잤어 샤미 도지기로 샤니 도지 냠샤지 아니 기지 다다 상와지
No.
아니 카주 추니랑 법샤지 아니 나도 제 게임이 제 게임을 잘 왔지 아니 디로 고님마다 고왔어 고도 고시 고도만 저에 카드 심고마다 고치 되었지 아니 미세 나제 빵을 때서 어디 뒤뒤서
네, 저거대. 좀버대.
뒤 상마서 도지
상이
기름
이리와. 어카르시다.
도지 기름 직세 찬이냠샤 직세
나.
아니 르 다다 상와 이제 아니 디네 소다 추니랑 법샤버세
집어.
제지견을 잡았지
알아요. 야.
제지견을 잡았지 아니 고님마다
나. 야.
무슨 미기때 나도 나도 빵 서비스
네 봉봉하대요.
뭐마다 수지 공부시세 아니 니버도 처에 공부시 얘는 두시 공부시 아니 두시 공부시 얘는 남버시 공부시
Yeah. Okay. The position taken by these personages as they are depicted by individual artists shouldn't be too much of a concern for you. It will vary by the artist's whim. And so what is critical is an understanding of the usefulness of the Vajra position for the legs, which is the first of the 7-point Vajrayana posture. And one should be in the Vajra position in which the right leg is underneath and inside, and the left leg comes up on top. And so that is the position of the legs in the first position of the 7. The second is the dhyana position, the position of meditative absorption taken by the hands. The third is to have a to straighten one's spine so that it is straight like an arrow, and to level one's shoulders so that they are at an equal level. The fourth is to have the tongue touching the palate, hard roof of the mouth. And then to touch have the teeth and the lips in a natural position. The tongue will also slightly touch the teeth. That is the fifth. To have the eyes downcast slightly so that if they see the nostrils is the 6th. And then the 7th, slightly forward leaning head, like a grain bending the stalk. That's the 7th. So those are the 7. Those are the 7. The 7 are Vajra position of leg, dhyana position of hand, spine like an arrow, tongue to the hard palate, tongue and teeth and lips in a natural position, the eyes downcast and the head slightly forward tilted. The 5 aggregates are the aggregate of form, the aggregate of feeling, the aggregate of discrimination, the aggregate of karmic karmic formations, and the 5th consciousness.
아직 내염도 모두 좀 쉬워다. 아니 수수한 얘기 지금 샘플 되는 그거다. 지금 샘플 그거다 지금 시대 용어야다. 된대기 미유되는 제도라는 남이 왜 제가 되게 길러도 쇼스는 어떤 기회에 많은 방향으로 나서
And so with that, then we will conclude the class and dedicate the virtue of listening, of attending to the Dharma, of listening and instructing in the Dharma to bringing an end to violent conflict in the world, to calamities, and to all the, bringing an end to all the discontents of all people and all beings. So we dedicate the merit of this moment to that as we recite our closing prayers. Page 12.
Rangi Shishin Dobe Langi Ne Shura Tsewe Rangde Lakde Dowe Yiji Mumba Seje Ne Dewe Temba Yurin Zingyuji Temba Rinchin Choji Majaba Jakya Nyambara Yuwe Chode Ninje Shimbu Yira Jewayo Pende Teje Sewara Jewayo Seje Jave Mejun Chile Lekru Chanju Namje Rembe Jam Tardu Namji Ila Redeje Jave Zeba Rendu Jungjuruchi Namsan Rube Tujin Rujeje Gege Seje Medani Sera Kundu Jave Mabaye Nanda Landan Jawar Manjuchi Kanze Teba Chola Chojen Sujin Chola Zumba De Tude Namji Tadu Chojeje Taji Yasu Chogun Yayu From my two collections, vast the space that I have amassed, from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds' wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all my lives of understanding. May I find the best of the paths, the complete teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by practicing. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path as I have discerned. May I hold Buddha's teachings for a very long time, with my heart going out with great compassion, in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread or once spread have declined. May I offer this treasure of happiness to aid all sentient beings. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted boundless peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time by following the complete graduated path of enlightenment and the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their sons. May all human and non-human beings that eliminate adversity and make things conducive for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes an effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may he always be assisted by the Mighty Ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. Noge Jin Sade Gewari Tendan Brahma Dona Gandena Kevara Jetsun Losan Rabai Tembe Nimbo Ringo Sejejo Kare Rave Kore Shinkande Tendan Dewa Mayu Jungwe Jere Zewan Tenzin Yasori Shabe Side Bardu Tengyuruchi
Jambe Bawu Jidar Kimba, Kundu Zambo Leon de Shinte, Yeda Gungi Jesu Dalo Je, Gewa Dila Kanje Rabu, Jesu Jebe Gewa Danje Je, Moa Gamba Chodu Mabade, Aye Gewe Tawa Digu Yang, Sambo Juju Rabu Moaji, Chanjo Semjo Rinpoche, Maje Bana Jiju, Gewa Yamba Nebaya, Kone Kodu Ewa Shu. I dedicate whatever virtues I've ever collected for the benefit of the teachings and of sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of Venerable Losang Jacques the Shine forever. In the land encircled by snowy mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful Jinren Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until psychic existence is ended. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra do, realize things as they are, also I dedicate all these merits in the best way, that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue, with the dedication praised as the best, by the victorious thus gone ones as the 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. May the supreme jewel of Bodhisattva that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more.
실로 쇠제반 실라도 유인지라네. 줄어서 그날 남여라네. 남시야고 또하네. 저한테는 남 대수를 주제는 감은 남 그렇고.
And we have food and tea, which people have brought, and we may share it together and just relax. And if you want to discuss some of the points of the Dharma, do so. And so that's that. Thank you. Thank you. Filling in on the congratulations.